Hello, hello. Welcome to my Facebook Live, talking about some celebration projects that you can do with things that you can get for free. I'm sorry if my glasses are glaring from the light ahead of me, but anyway, I'm trying to, that might be better. Trying to keep my desktop very well lit and hoping people will be joining on soon. I'll give a few more minutes for people to pop on, and hey, say hello if you are watching live. Give me a comment so I know who's there, and also I can put you in a raffle for some free prizes. Is that my friend Annette? Say hello. Nice to see some people coming on. Hope you're having a great night. Hey, hi Annette. Good to see you. You see someone else popping on. Say hi, leave a comment, just say hello, and just by leaving a comment, you're entered into a raffle. So, yeah, so we'll give you a raffle for all the comments that are posted live. Okay, if I replay this, that's not going to count, just the people who are live, because I really appreciate you coming out and seeing some of the projects I'm going to show you today. Hey Debbie, you got on today. I'm so glad. Very good. So, well, welcome. Nice to see you. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you too, Annette. Yeah, I can't wait. Get you here, stamp it in person, right? It'll be fun. Nice to be doing some in-person events again. Yeah. So if you're not seeing this live, first of all, this is Thursday. There's about a week left for Celebrations. So Celebrations catalog. I know this is backwards for you, but you get the idea, right? So Celebrations just goes until the end of September, and for every $50 you spend, you can get something free from this catalog. So I'm here to show you some of the things that you can get for free and some of the projects I've created with them. And I'm going to do a few live stamping things here too. So just to give you a little inspiration. And hey, if you don't have these exact stamp sets, maybe you have something similar that you can stamp along with, with the video later on. All right, so hi Lois, so glad you're able to get on. Yay! Okay, so Lois is entered into the raffle for leaving a comment as well. Okay, hey, good luck, ladies. And as people come on, we can just add more and more to the raffle. So that'll be great. So I'm not going to spend too much time jibber-jabbering because I know that's no fun, right? I just want to get right into our fun of stamping. So excuse me one sec, I need to get a pen here. All right. And I'm going to show you some of the things. We'll go step by step through the catalog, some of the stamp sets that you can get, and the designer paper, and some dies, and just a whole lot of great stuff. And some of my friends have already done some workshops and gotten some fun things, and we're going to do one more workshop with some of my avid stampers. We're doing that on Monday, so getting ready for that. And then I just want to remind you that if you do place an order, I have a host code that is, when you're prompted, this is backwards, but when I flip the camera, maybe it won't be, so we'll see how that goes. I have a host code. It's on the sidebar of my blog that when you make an order, you can type in that host code, and it kind of helps me keep track of the orders that I've gotten for the month. So I really appreciate that. And hey, let's get started on some stamping, okay? All right. So again, thanks for joining on. So I'm going to flip the camera around. Okay, ladies, just let me know if there's something wrong. I mean, first of all, I am straight, right? I'm not like sideways or anything like that. I think you'd tell me. My first live, it turned out I was sideways. Oh, well. I think this technology has gotten better, and also I think I have a better device. So that's always good. All right, so I'll flip the camera. Excuse me if it's a little jiggly. Just give me a second. All right. And if you catch glimpses of my messy work table, just excuse it and maybe you can relate, right? Okay. Oh, all right. Hold on if you're getting dizzy. I'm trying to get this just right for you. Move my phone out of the way. Oh, I'm good. All right. Thank you, Debbie. I appreciate that. Okay. Let's move my light out of the way. Okay. I think I see a little shadow here, but well, when I record during the day, I'm able to have the windows open, get some nice natural light. This nighttime thing's a little tricky, but I think you get the idea. At some point, I'll invest in some better lighting. All right, everything look good, guys? Earthquake. Oh, watch out. Okay, I think we're stable now and that you can relax. It's okay. All right, so Sale-A-Brations. Yay. First of all, tell me, ladies, this is this backwards or is this looking good now? Okay, this orientation, are we good? I think it is. I think it turns out that it's okay. All right. Yeah, we can all relate. Okay, so this glimmer paper here. Oh my gosh. It was so popular. Okay, it's called Bedazzling. And I think my friend Lois, hi Sandy, thank you. My friend Lois was able to get this, I believe, but look at this. It's like a disco ball on a sheet of paper. Okay, so it's called Bedazzling. It was free with a $50 purchase, but guess what? It is no longer available because this was only as supplies last, and they didn't last. It's gone because everybody loved it so much. So that's just one thing to beware of during celebrations or when we get close to the end of a catalog period. Sometimes things just stop being available. So word to the wise, if you see something you love, you have to hop right on it. So anyway, I do have some of those sheets there, and you know, who knows, maybe somebody will get that as a prize someday. Okay, so going on, let's do some things that I do have. Now, this cute little penguin Playmates coordinates with a stamp set in the mini catalog, the July-December mini catalog, and what you can get for free is a designer series paper, and it is just adorable. I'll show you some of the projects I've made with that. I know I've showed some of you this before, but so cute. You've got these little Arctic friends, the polar bear, the penguin, and the fox. On some you have snowmen. You have all different positions. You have some graphics. You have some the freesia, the soft sea foam, and the misty moonlight, all kind of non-traditional Christmas colors, but it is just a winter thing. So, oh, look, cute little bird there and some bunnies. So fun things there. The one cool thing about this little guy is it coordinates with the punch that's also in the catalog. So if you have, let's say, this little guy here, I'm going to just cut him out like this. And if you have the punch, you can stick that right in there, and you can punch him right out and put him on a card just as is. So, ta-da! There he is. Also coordinates with the stamp set, Penguin Play, so you can choose to stamp this little guy and then punch him out if you like, add the feet. Or you can even just punch this section in black, this section in white, add 2 little feet and maybe orange, and you can create him without any stamps at all. Just add a couple little eyes and you've got that made. So let me show you some of the projects that I already did with these guys here. One was a workshop we did earlier in the month. I'm going to stick that little guy in there. I keep a little cello bag of my little pieces all together, and then a bigger envelope for my 12 by 12 papers. There we go. So I have a whole other sheet of those too, so maybe that might be a free gift someday. You never know. Okay, so looking at Penguin Place and the free Penguin Playmates. Here is a step card that we created using fresh freesia, and it lays flat to go in the envelope, but it can create a little step like this and stand up on your desktop. Okay, well, he's been folded for a while, so here we go. Can stand right up there. And we use some of the free DSP right on there. So that was an adorable card that we made with him. Okay, this was punched out right from the DSP. All right, so that's one project. And then here's one that I did. Okay, this one I don't have a tutorial online for. This is a private workshop that we did. Now this one, I do have a tutorial up on, and it's the pinwheel tower card. There we go. So it looks like a pinwheel from above. It stands up. It's tall, like a tower, and we use a lot of that great DSP there. Cut out some of the stamped little pine trees and use some of the sentiments from the set. So it has 4 different sides to it. So it's the coolest friend ever. Isn't that adorable? So these guys were punched. Okay, added little feet up on some dots to give a little dimension there. All right. And the little polar bear, we made it look like he's holding a little banner. I like you a lot'll. It's like a little except a lot. Okay. And then a place where you can actually write a little something, a little happy birthday card with the gifts. So 4 different sides, really fun thing to play with. You can't help but just, you know, turn it around and keep looking at it. It's like it never ends. Okay, so that's a fun little thing that we did with Penguin Place. Spend $50 and you can get the Designer Series paper for free. So there's 12 sheets in there, two of 6 different designs. Okay, 2 each of 6 different designs. So that's a lot of fun. Okay, so moving on, because I want to get to some actual stamping here. Another very nice set is called Feels Like Home. Okay, now some of the stamp sets that Stampin' Up! Has is more of a sketch look. All right, so this one, not as bold lines, a little bit more subtle. Something that you can either color in with your markers or watercolor pencils, or you can just leave it plain like this. So if you like to color, it's a good set for you. And if you don't like to color, it's also a good set for you. So I'm going to show you something that you can do with that one. I'm going to move Mr. Penguin out of the way. Okay, so here I've stamped the image. Here's the set. You can see it a little bit better. Sorry for the glare. But you have some sentiments. You have that nice little door front with the bike and some plants and trees and a couple little potted plants. 4 sentiments. I can't thank you enough. Your friendship feels like home to me. Isn't that just lovely? I like that. And I'm always and forever here for you and missing you. Okay, so this one happens to be a rubber stamp set. Some are photopolymer, which are clear and you can see through. So I'll show you that in a minute. So I stamped that in my Memento Black onto vanilla cardstock. Okay, very vanilla is what it's called, to be exact. All right, and then there are a few different ways you can actually treat this. If you want, you can take some, I did this one with watercolor pencils, and some people like coloring. It's very calming and soothing, therapeutic, and it really can be, but some people really don't care for it too much. Well, this one, when I started looking at it, I said, oh, okay, I don't know if I have time to color, but you know what? It didn't take long at all, because basically all you have to do is just add a little brush of color. You don't have to be so perfect with this because it is very kind of sketchy and rather small, so you don't see a whole lot of detail, but when you add color to there, it does give a little pop. So I took my watercolor pencil. Stampin' Up! Has 2 different sets. Okay, this one was the first set, and then there is an add-on set with a different assortment of colors. So the original one is what I used here. And you can leave it just plain with watercolor, with the pencils. If you wanted to make it look a little deeper, or make it look more like watercoloring, watercolor painting, you can take your blender pen, which is just a clear wet pen, and if you go over your pencil, it's going to add a little bit of water to that and actually look like watercolor paints. So I don't know if you can see how that's darkening a little bit, and it's spreading the pencil marks around a little, so that like I said, rather than looking pencil-y, it kind of adds a little bit more richness to that. So if you wanted to, you can always use this in conjunction with your watercolor pencils. And that's a nice, inexpensive way to start to get a lot of color. When you're done with your blender pen, you just wipe off whatever color comes off until it runs clear, and you're good to go on to the next color. So let's say I wanted to do the trees. So I know this is a little hard to see on the camera, but see how lightly and quickly I'm going over this? Well, that's how quick it was with the pencils. Just had to brush a little color on there. Wipe that off, and then I could do the branches there. And so maybe you can see how it looks a little darker now. All right. So again, just wipe it clear, and then it's good to go for another time. So then different ways you can treat that is to then put it on a background. Okay, I chose to mat this on real red to have just a little bit of a pop there. And then I'm going to mount it on basic gray with, I wonder if you could see that texture there. Move my light over a little bit better. Okay, this is actually a brick and mortar embossing folder. So since there's brick in the little sketch here, I decided to bring some brick onto the cardstock there. All right, so I am going to mount this on here, and I'm going to show you a little secret, something I like to do. Ta-da! I took a die cut and popped out some of the inner part of that cardstock, that mat, that's going to not be seen once I put all my layers together. Now, you wouldn't want to do this if your top layer is very light and you might see through this, especially if the mat is dark. But once this is on there, no one's going to know, and I have another piece left over for another project. So I have a bin where I just keep these things in, and once in a while I'll go in and find how to use it. Alrighty, so we're going to do that. But you know what else I'm going to do? Same thing with this, because I can punch something out of there, and I'm going to use my everyday label. Put that in there, punch that out, and now I have a label for another project. And no one's going to know the difference except you guys watching, so don't tell anybody. Okay, so now just to glue my pieces together. Okay, yeah, it does save paper, Debbie. I kind of get a little obsessed with it, to be honest. It's like, oh no, she didn't punch something out there, or I forgot myself, or whatever. All right, so I'm going to then mount that on there. Okay, I'm going to not put it in the middle yet because it might show through on there until I mount that onto my cardstock. You can do this in the reverse order too. You could do the biggest piece first if you like. That's fine. I'm going to mount this a little close to the top so that I could put a sentiment down below. Okay, and I thought with a soft sketch, doing this on vanilla worked rather nicely. So now I'm going to mount that on there. And now this time I can put glue all over. When you have texture on one of your layers, make sure you use plenty of glue, because some of it is raised and some of it isn't, obviously. And so that leaves less surface area for the glue to grab. So don't be stingy with your glue in those circumstances. Okay, so one other thing I love about this set is this sentiment here. I can't thank you enough. Always need thank you cards. It's very thin, and it can use up, it can fit right on my 1/2-inch strips that I have tons left over of. I keep a bin next to me of those, and it fits right on there. So I'm just going to take my scissors, and I'm just going to cut this to a size that I want. Normally I use my trimmer to make sure I get it all nice and straight, but I think I did okay job there. Now I'm going to pop that up with some dimensional dots. I'm going to use my mini one since that is so small. And our little take your pick tool. Have that little poker thing there. When you're not sure what to call it a poker. Okay, I think 3 should do it. There we go. Pull those off. Pull off the backing. Keep a little cup here so that I can throw my little things away. And we'll place that right down there. People use the dimensional dots. You've found them all over the house, right? I know. My friends are saying, I found one in the shower. You track them all over the house. Okay, so very soft, easy, nice looking card. Could be a feminine or a masculine card with those textures and colors. All right, so now let's say you don't like to color. Some people just don't like to, or you need a really quick card. Here's what you can do with that. Let me put my pencils away, and I'll get out our next example here. Uh-oh. Okay, so that's the Feels Like Home, free for a $50 order. All right, I'm going to take a smaller piece of cardstock, a little bit different shape. This one measures 3 3/4 by 3 1/4. And I am going to stamp that with my Memento Black. I find when I have a big stamp like this, it's easier to take the stamp pad and go onto the stamp rather than go like this. Okay, so on the back, put the block on the back and stamp the ink right on there. And that way you can kind of see, make sure you're inking up everything pretty well too, getting all around it. Okay, so we're going to stamp that right on there. Okay, one nice sharp image. I'll make sure I'm getting it all down there. And there we go. Okay, so then from here, no coloring at all. Cover up your ink pad so you don't get your projects in there. I've been there, done that before. Okay, now we're going to mount that onto a piece of black. I've left just a very, very thin border around this time. Instead of leaving 1/4 inch on the sides, I'm left just 1/8 inch, so that leaves a 1/16 on each side. All right, and guess what? I'm going to do this again. Punch my everyday label out of there. Saving that paper. Okay, and I'm going to mount that right on there. Just going to be a black and white image. Okay, so let's say you don't have those embossing folders to get the brick texture there, or you don't want to invest in the cut and emboss machine. We have some designer series paper called, I don't want to get it wrong, hold on, give me a second, In Good Taste. And this designer series paper has a lot of options of some textile designs, some tile designs, brick and tile, and wood designs. If you've seen some of my photos or on my blog, very often I'll use some of these just as a background for photographing my cards. That they're so nice. And then here's some of the wood grains. They look real because they were actually photographed for this designer series paper. I mean, look at that. Looks like you can just get a splinter right on there, doesn't it? Okay, and look at this, the tiles and some fabric. So many things in here. So what I did was I took this tile that has the grays and the whites in it. See, this was vanilla, so that wouldn't work because you want this to match with the white. And then we are going to create a couple of layers here also. So we're going to have a black layer, and then the designer series paper to pick up on that little brick theme, and then the little house there. Okay, so there you go. No stamp, just one stamping, no coloring in, and it makes a really neat card. And then if you wanted, you can stamp your sentiment right underneath there. So I'll do that all later, and you can see that up on my blog, or I'll put it up on Facebook too, or just leave it plain as a note card, because you never know what you're going to need. Sometimes I don't put a sentiment on right away because maybe I'll need a thank you, maybe I'll need a thinking of you, maybe you know, a birthday, so you never know. Okay, so I just think that looks really cool, just like that. So 2 different options for that. Put that aside. And of course, if you wanted a more rich color to color in those stores, you can use your Stampin' Blends. These are kind of like alcohol. They are alcohol markers that you can blend the colors a little bit more. So let's say you don't even have to color in the whole thing. You can even just color in maybe the door, and that could just kind of be a focal point. Now this is the light Misty Moonlight. You want to be careful not to go over too much, because sometimes it will bleed into another section. So okay, there's a brush tip and a hard tip. And it's light enough that you can still see that wood grain right through there. And if you wanted to add a little bit of highlight, you can always come in with your darker color. I'm seeing like a little bit of shading like in this corner. Think of where the light is. So if maybe the light's coming this way, it's creating a little shading that way. And then if you wanted, you can go back with your lighter color and just sort of blend that in a little bit more. And it will get a little bit more of a watercolor look to it. Let it dry a little bit, and you have a little bit more shading there. So even that alone on maybe the Misty Moonlight background, and you have a very easy card. So I'll do that one up and show the results later as well. Okay, so moving right along on the celebrations. This has been really popular and one of my favorites. For $50 order, you can get the beautifully penned designer series paper. I love cards that have a lot of black and white and just a pop of color. And this one is just wonderful. You have 3 different sheets, 2-sided, and one side is a floral print. The other side is a graphic print. So you have some that are clear. You can color these in. You can leave them black and white. And the back side is the stripe. Then you have little scallops. And then you have this that you can also color in or just leave as is. And then the last design is either polka dots and the little leaves over there. So if you saw some of my videos, one of my most popular video, actually the most popular video, it kind of is going really crazy lately, has these cards on it here that I called an angled trifold card. People are just loving this. I'm getting so many subscribers because they see this card, and a lot of people are subscribing to my newsletter. And if you haven't done that yet, go to my blog. They'll pop up a form and you can sign up for my newsletter, and you can stay in touch with all the things that are going on. So we have this trifold card. Each one uses different designer paper of that beautifully penned. So it opens this way and uses the designer series paper in many different ways, inside and out. All right, so a lot of people just loving that. All right, all the different designs in different ways. All right, so check out on my YouTube channel, Stamp with Lorraine, and you'll see the tutorial on how to make those. Lots of fun. Lots of fun. So now the way you cut these out, you're left with these little triangles. And like I said, I don't like to waste anything. So I saved those triangles and created some other cards with them. So one with a kind of a funky look, because these triangles were kind of all not regular triangles. So I decided to go with a bright pink and picked up with the gray and put a little gray stripe inside, made the front a little shorter, and made this kind of, you know, wonky layout here with white emboss on black for the thank you. Okay, so a little bit more fun, girly look. And then for a softer look and a little bit bigger triangles, I made something a little bit more uniform, and that looks really pretty too. Just how simple is that? Just a few pieces of my scraps, layered it on Pool Party, then on basic gray, and on white, leaving a lot of white space to give a nice clean look on that one. All right, and happy birthday. Okay, so that uses the beautifully penned DSP that you could also get for free. That's a $50 order. And then I made a tower card with that same paper. So just like the Penguins one, it's a pinwheel tower card. And you can lay either way. You can lay flat, fit in a regular envelope. And this is one that I did that says, "You're absolutely amazing. The world needs more of you. Thanks for being you." And just thanks. Okay. So, and like I said, that can fit into a regular envelope. We put some designer series paper on here, so you have a nice matching envelope. So when somebody gets that in the mail, they'll know it's something special because they'll see the special paper on there. Okay, so that's my favorite DSP at the moment. Okay, and moving on, something I haven't gotten to play with yet is the Peaceful Prince 12x12 designer paper. And unfortunately, I do not have the Peaceful Deer bundle where you have the punch that will punch out the deer in the stamp set and on this DSP. So see how those match up? You can just punch those out and then add them to your card. But you have some nice buffalo plaid, the real old-fashioned kind of patterns here. This looks like birch trees, and your little candy cane-like stripes, and snowflakes, and a different red plaid. Makes you feel like cozying up in your jammies and your bathrobe waiting for Santa. And some pine trees and the like gingham look there, and the polka dots. Just so pretty. Look at all those different patterns. Okay, so that's also a $50 item. And then, oh, more of the same. Then the sheep. Oh my gosh, they've been so cute. So cute. And I've seen so many cards, kids cards, baby cards, just for anybody cards. So the counting sheep, this is also the rubber set. And you have 3 different sheep and a couple different sentiments, little party hat and some grass for him to romp around on. And then you have dies that coordinate with that. Now, $50 can get you the stamp set and $50 can get you the dies. Okay, so they will come separately. Sometimes I've seen stamp set and dies for $100. I love how they did it this way because sometimes you just want the stamp set and maybe you didn't spend that $100 to get both. So whatever. So the dies, like many of the Stampin' Up! Dies, a lot of the outlines will cut out the sheep, but then you also have some other elements. You have clouds, a fence, a sun, a balloon, a party hat, a pennant, and another cloud. So you have other elements to add on to your card to complete it, to make those sheep jumping over the fence or having a party or whatever. So that's lots of fun there. So I can't wait to play with that. I've been meaning to do that for a long time, just haven't gotten around to it. Very busy lately. Okay, so now this one, textures and frames. A lot of people sort of overlook this, but it really can be a lot of fun. It basically just has the, I'm trying to look where I put my set. Okay, I have it. Oh, it's over here. Okay, there we go. You can see that better. It has just a lot of splotches, like ink splotches, brush strokes, circles. Looks like you left a coffee ring there, right? Open and closed rings, and a little frame that you can stamp something in, or sort of make plaid designs with them there. So just to show you real quick some ways that could work. This is a photopolymer, so this is clear. You can see right through it. And the way Stampin' Up! Is packaging the photopolymers these days is you can just take them right off of this sheet, and you can place them right in your stamp case, and they're right like that. Nothing's slipping around or moving around. So I'm going to show you just a real quick. These can be quick and easy where you don't even have to think about them at all. I'm going to take, let me just put these on here since I already started. There we go. I'm going to take this circle, and okay, you might want to keep that on there so it doesn't stick to your cover. I'm going to take the circle. We're going to just make a fun cheery card. So I'm taking my block and sticking that on there. We're going to use Coastal Cabana on a white card base and a white layer that we're going to stamp on. Okay, and looks like I have to cut that down a little bit. Wrong paper. Hold on. All right, need to trim it down just a little bit. Okay, so your top layer, I cut this to be my first layer, but it's really going to be the top layer. So I want to go to 3 3/4, cut it down an extra 1/4 of an inch by 5. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now that'll fit on there with a nice little border, and let's just do a quick little stamping here. Show you how quick and easy this can be. We'll make this one a vertical card, and I'm bringing in some Coastal Cabana to match the mat, some Granny Apple Green, and some Daffodil Delight. Okay, nice cheery colors, and I have my chamois to clean my stamp off with. Okay, I have to get that nice and wet. I know it looks disgusting, but it's just stained. It still works. Just spray it with some water, and that's how you can rub your stamps. Clean them off. All right, so let's start with some, I like to start with a darker color. Just visually, it's easier for me. So I'm going to do the Coastal Cabana first. And I'm going to put some of these dots all around the card. Now, you want to sort of go off the page a little bit so that it doesn't look like it's just too contained. It looks a little bit more random that way. Always come back and do some others later. So we'll do 3 of those. Clean off your stamp. We'll go to Granny Apple Green. A few of those, and we can overlap some of these too. Okay, clean that off. And then on to the yellow. So how about this? Don't even have to think about it. Just randomly stamp. Okay, I might put a little bit there, and I might come in with a little bit more green down here. There we go. Okay, just fun, fun, fun. And then, like I said, I love adding something black on there. So I'm going to do that in a couple different ways. Okay, first of all, I'm going to mount that on there. And yeah, I could punch that out, but this is rather thin. The white is rather thin, so I'm not going to do it this time. I just, we're going to put it on the Coastal Cabana. I don't know, wait. Okay, because it probably wouldn't show through with all that color on there, but it is kind of thin. I don't want to feel the texture of, you know, something missing inside there. And then we could just put it right on there, and you have a really cool note card. In fact, you know what? I saw a card similar to this. All of these spots were gold, maybe a little smaller, but they were definitely kind of splotchy. And had a teeny tiny sentiment. It was in the post office, and it was, you know, maybe a Hallmark or some high-end card. They were selling it for $6.99. Yeah, it was in a little cello bag, but you know what? I have those cello bags too. $6.99. So I could make that card so easily. So anyway, so I love adding a little black to that. So we're going to add this black gingham ribbon. It's in the mini catalog in the Halloween page section. But should we do a bow or not? What do you think? Bow or not? Let's try a bow. You can always change your mind, right? Okay. So here's my trick for tying bows. I usually start with my left over right and I go under. Now when you tie this, one side tends to be up, one side tends to be down, right? Okay, so let me hold it. The side that's down is what I make my first loop with. Now, if I want my bow to go perpendicular with the ribbon that's wrapped around, I am going to go, I'm thinking clockwise, because clockwise is kind of like the same, the right way to go. Okay, so I'm going to wrap the other part around clockwise, and I think that should work. And if I wanted to go perpendicular to this, if my card was this way, well then I could tie it the other way. So I go around counterclockwise because I want to go in a counter direction than the original. So I'm going around clockwise on here. That's my little secret to bow tying. Oh, get in there, get in there. Oh, man, I almost had it. It's good to have a friend nearby to say, can I borrow your finger? Stick it right there. Okay. All right, so see, it's going in the same direction. So I wrapped that around clockwise. All right, so now this is a little floppy. I don't like floppy, wonky bows. So that's where our glue dots come in handy. I'm just trying to think, where do I want this? Down below or up above? Right in the middle? I don't know. I'm going to put it on the bottom. I often put things up on the top. I'm going to put this down to the bottom. We're going to put a little sentiment there. I tend to put my sentiments bottom right for some reason. I don't know. Okay, so these glue dots here. I'm just going to take this and pop that on. And just a reminder, if anybody wants to take advantage or knows somebody who might want to take advantage of the joining offer from Sale-A-Brations during Sale-A-Brations, if you join my team, become a demonstrator, then you can pick a free bundle from the list of bundles that are mostly from the mini catalog. A lot of bundles, you can pick one of them for free in addition to getting your starter kit. The starter kit's only $99. So if you are spending $100 anyway, why not spend $99 and join, and then you get $125 worth of product and that free bundle until September 30th. And you will get 20% off all your purchases. And if you do any sales, which you don't have to, you just have to meet a quarterly minimum. They don't care if they're your sales or someone else's. Then you can get 20% off anything that you order and 20% back on anything that you sell. And then once you make it to the next level, which isn't very difficult, then you get 25% off all your purchases. Look how sweet that is and how easy it was. A lot of people will look at this and say, what am I going to do with that? Well, here you go. Here's a cute little idea, right? So then you can stamp something on there. Let's take one of my favorite stamps again, artistically inked. And we're going to take, let's see, should we do hello or should we do thanks? Let's do hello is kind of cute, but I don't know. I'll do the thanks. Could do birthday too, but let's do the thanks real quick. Okay, and my Memento Black. I mean, it's really cute just like that too. Imagine just getting a whole stack of this in different colors. Make them what you want. Okay, I'm going to test it here, make sure I'm inked up pretty well, and I'm getting it straight. That was pretty good. If only I could take that back and do it here. All right, let's see. Oh, I hear some voices outside. People hanging out. Okay, well, there we go. Very cute, right? So easy, easy, easy. All right, just have a couple more things to show you before we call it a night. I'm not going to hold you around too long. Oh, if you wanted to, one of my other favorite embellishments to add to that, I told you I love the black. Black matte dots. Gotta have them. Oh my gosh, I can go with so many different style of cards. I put them on more serious cards, more fun cards, masculine cards. They're different sizes, some small, some big, and you can just add them. They're already sticky back. You can just add a few around. It's good to put things in like groups of 3. I'm going to put 2 smalls and 1 big, just to bring in a little extra little interest there. Okay, good to put them in sort of a triangle. All right, so there we go. I'll post all these on Facebook and on my blog later, so you can get a better look at them again. But, all right, just a few more things I want to show you, especially the dahlias. Dahlias are, you need to spend $100 to get the delicate dahlias. And here is the stamp set. It's a big stamp set, but there's so many things you can do with that. Oh, one more thing. Another $100 is Summer Shadows dies. They coordinate with one of the stamp sets in the catalog. I do not have the stamp set, so I guess the dies could be fun on their own, but it's a really nice thing if you do have that stamp set. Okay, and then, ta-da, the dahlias. Oh my gosh. Delicate dahlias, nice big bold flowers, little flowers, the leaves. It's what we call 2-step stamping. So you have an outline image and you have a filler image. Outline for the leaves and a filler for the leaves. Same thing with the little flower and teeny tiny leaves. You have 4 sentiments that are anytime you can use for a lot of different occasions. And just to show you what you can do with this, you can either use just the outline. Now, these are stained a little bit because I did use them. The photopolymer will stain a little bit, but it doesn't change how the stamp works at all. It just gets a little bit stained. All right, so one side over here, you have the outlines, and then you have the filler on the other side. So just to show you, this stamp is kind of what they call distinctive, and distinctive means it has some really natural-looking elements to it. So here I was experimenting with a Blackberry Bliss color on the dahlias, where I stamped the outline first in the Blackberry Bliss, and then I stamped the filler inside there. And look at all that different shading. It looks like I watercolored it, right? But it's already been done. That's what makes it distinctive. So those have shading right built into the stamp. And here is that same stamp without the outline. That looks great alone too. All right, so you can go either way, and you can also use just the outline if you want a little bit more graphic look. So here are some ideas that I did recently. I think you'll tell that I really love this set. It is just so pretty. I did a tutorial on partial embossing. And okay, that's up on YouTube. That's been getting a lot of traffic as well. And this is where I stamped the dahlia in the same color as the inner part. So the line is in the same color, so tone on tone. All right, so this is Highland Heather, and this is Polished Pink, the new in color. And then same thing with the leaves. I mean, look how pretty that is. It looks very real and textured, right? So these are up on my YouTube channel. Stamp the thanks and the happy birthday. Those are from different stamp sets than the Delicate Dahlias, but I just needed those first. Cut them out and pop those up on dimensional dots. So that's one way that you can use the stamp. And then I showed another tutorial on how you can sort of make your own DSP. So let's say I wanted something to coordinate with this. There is no DSP that coordinates with the dahlias. So I was talking to some of my avid stampers, and I said, you know what, you could just make your own. Take a whole sheet of 8.5 by 11 cardstock and just start stamping these images all over it. So first thing we did was to stamp the outline in black, and big flower first, put in the leaves, filled in with some smaller flowers, and added those little leaves, and we came up with a whole sheet of it black. Then cut that in half. The other half we filled in with some color. So I took Soft Succulent for the leaves and Polished Pink for the inside. So this is the same color, just this one has a black outline, and then this one has the Polished Pink outline. So look at the kind of different style that you can get with that. A little bit different look. There's that black gingham ribbon again. So out of the half sheet of that DSP, pretend DSP, the one that we just made, we were able to put together, or I was able to show anyway, all these cards. Started off with the bigger piece, and then I just looked at how the pattern laid out and was able to cut pieces. This one I die cut a little scallop rectangle out of. This one I kept square and punched out a circle and fussy cut a little flower there. There are those matte dots again. I'm telling you, I love those things. And then I used a bigger piece here, and guess what? This piece was die cut out of this. Okay, so behind this black is an empty space where this came from. So making the most out of all these. I just loved these. They were so much fun making them, and it gives you a starting point. I get questioned a lot. How do you get your ideas? Where does it come from? Start with a big piece of paper and just start chopping it up, and then see how you can lay it out. These were the little pieces I had left over. I was like, okay, what the heck am I going to do with those? You just mat them, you layer them, and you have a beautiful, clean, simple looking card. Okay, so I just, so you can get extra fancy, extra layers, extra embellishments, or just how simple is that from just some scraps of paper. Alrighty, so then we took the other side. Oh, glad you like those, Debbie. I just love those too. That was so much fun. Okay, I didn't get the tutorial up on that, but it will be coming soon. So now we took the ones that were just the black and white. So here we go, just the black and white. So instead of having it colored in like this, I took a similar layout and just left it black and white, layered it with Soft Succulent. And this one, notice I added some Soft Succulent ink over the ribbon to tie that in instead of keeping it just black and white, just for something different. I like to show different things that you can do. All right, so that's the black and white. Okay, this one, this black scalloped rectangle came from something. Guess what? It came from here. Here, see that black mat? That black scallop was behind there. So cut that out and used it on another card. This one has a Soft Succulent ribbon. This was one big piece. Just cut it into 3 panels and spread them apart. Okay, just for a different look there. Those black matte dots coming back at you again. And then taking even the smallest pieces and putting them out in a lot of different ways. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed all the different things that you can do with these celebration sets. Only until September 30th can you get them for free. They will never be in another catalog, and they will never be for sale. You could only get them for free. Actually, Be careful what you say. Never say never. There was one set, the Hey Chick set from Celebrations, one other time, that did come back to the catalog. I'm just going to flip the camera around and just say goodbye to everybody. Hey Chick did come back and was in the regular catalog, was for sale for a little while. But anyway, but typically Celebrations, once it's over, it's over. But this is the first time that Celebrations was in the fall. Usually it's January, February, and then it was January, February, March. And now we also had it in the fall. So we had August and September. So it was fun. Oh, I'm glad you liked it, Annette. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. And you'll be making some beautiful things when you come stamp with me on World Card Making Day. October 2nd is World Card Making Day. Annette and my other friend Karen are going to come visit from New York, and we're going to be stamping together with some of my local friends. And I'm going to do a virtual piece on World Card Making Day too. So World Card Making Day is a day where you can just make cards and send them out to people. It's kind of a lost art. It's a lost thing to do. A lot of people will just send the email or the virtual card or whatever. I mean, it's so nice to get something in the mail that was handwritten by you, and even better, handmade. So we're going to make some cards for the troops. We're going to have some make and takes that the attendees can actually send out to people that they want. So that's the whole idea, to kind of spread the joy, spread the love, say hello, keep people in your thoughts. And so that's World Card Making Day. And one other thing, next week on the 30th, the last day of Celebrations, we're going to be doing bingo. So we did bingo back in June. This is going to be my second bingo night, and details are on my blog. But basically for $35, you can play bingo. I'll show 4 different projects, and I'll send you a kit so that you can do the projects after bingo night. And we'll be playing a few rounds of bingo, and you can win some gift certificates and other fun prizes to stamp it up. And the grand prize right now is $50, and you can, the more people that play, the prize can go higher. So we'll see how many people we get, and the grand prize might be a little bit more if we get enough people playing. So tell your friends. You don't have to be one of my customers. Just anybody can come on. Go to my blog, and you can register right on my blog and see all the details there. We're going to be using Pretty Pumpkins stamp set. Okay, here it is, Pretty Pumpkins. And it does come as a bundle. You can get a die cut set that matches with it. And you don't have to have the Pretty Pumpkins, but if you have something that's similar that you think you can use, then feel free to do that. I can't send you stamped images, but I can send you the paper and the materials otherwise to go along with the cards. But if you want to order the Pretty Pumpkins, I have a special offer for anybody who orders the set or the bundle by tomorrow midnight. Will get another free gift from me. Okay, so some Stampin' Up! Goodies. I'm going to send you an extra gift if you order that by tomorrow night. Early bird registration for bingo ends tomorrow night. You can register up until Tuesday, the 29th, but the early bird special is you get entered into a raffle for a goodie bag of like $20 worth of Stampin' Up! Products. So if you sign up early by midnight tomorrow, you can get into that raffle. So I hope those are some fun things that you guys can join in on. And hey, the guys that joined live, thank you for joining in live. And if you're watching the replay, remember to join us on the next few days. And hopefully some of these celebration projects have inspired you to do some of your own creations. All right, so good night, everybody. And thanks for joining in. Have a great night.